What is up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode. I think it's like episode 14 or something. Season 3 of Shady Sports Fantasy Football Reports. I'm your host, the bus driver, Cedric Green. And we got Justin co-hosting today. Hopefully we'll get Seany joining us. If we do, we'll bring him on in. But for right now, you got us too, so we'll get on into it. I want to go ahead and get this intro going. Hold on. I think our Twitch isn't working. Man, I'm gonna have to jump on Twitch and figure out why that doesn't want to connect, but it never seems to want to connect. So let me go ahead and get this intro and then we'll get back into it, Justin. And get it going.
Perfect.
Sit back, relax a little bit. Let me tell you a story. See if yours is anything like mine. Remember when I was a kid? So much better when I popped the lid. Feel the rabble, open it up.
Exactly, listen to Seany. Right, and Cash Out's the easy way to get money transferred when y'all with friends. So jump into that and then we'll get back to it.
He said, baby, jump in the back, boy. Tailgate crazy.
Yo, I kind of like that intro.
I love it.
It like kind of hits right to the point for sure. So yeah, Justin, we got week 1 in our belts, man. It was a crazy weekend.
Wild week.
What a wild week. What was that? 1, 2, 3 days, 4 days of football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 4 nights of the opening weekend.
Yeah, and then if you include college football, 5 nights of football.
Oh, that is true. How did your Gators do this time?
Oh, well, they won, but I mean, they were playing. I don't even know where the team came from.
I was going to send you something. I was probably like, oh, that team isn't probably that good, so he doesn't.
Samson, I think. I don't even know. I think they're from like Central Florida or somewhere.
Yeah, but you wanted to beat Miami. It just.
Yeah. Well, we'll see next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, we got some good games. I mean, we'll go back to the NFL. We got some good games. I mean, we got to see our fantasy teams play in that first week. No preseason in fantasy, so you don't get a chance to tune it up. You just kind of got to put them out and go. And this week, oh man, let me tell you. So, and I know we're gonna start talking about the Monday night game. But speaking of the Monday night game, one good thing about Sleeper, and you use Sleeper too, Justin. But the cool thing about it is they have an auto sub feature. I don't know. I don't think ESPN has one. I don't think Yahoo has one.
Not that I was aware of, no.
Yeah, none of those other guys have one. I mean, there may be some apps out there that have one, but none of them.
Does
Yahoo does not have a sub feature, an auto sub feature, because or not one that I've seen. I don't know. I use Yahoo. I have a league in Yahoo. But I haven't seen or heard anything about the auto sub feature. But Sleeper does have one. They implemented it this year, which was kind of cool. And then I kind of put up the rules on it up here on the screen if you guys can see that.
That's so helpful.
Right. If you're on a phone, you probably can't see it. It's probably too small. But if you're like on a computer, you can enlarge it and you can see it. Anyway, they have an auto sub feature. You can sub up to 3 players in your league, depending on what your league chooses upon or what your league commissioner chooses upon for your league.
Yep.
And I thought it was funny that they had Christian McCaffrey in here as like one of the little
it's like they knew something.
They knew something we didn't know. But anyway, basically it's for a situation like what happened with Christian McCaffrey. What happened with Christian McCaffrey is he was out, and I think it was widely known maybe 2 hours, if that, right before kickoff. So
I knew right when you texted me on Sunday. That's when I found out.
Okay, and I knew because my coworker. So it was funny. I was leaving work, and my coworker called me, and yesterday. So I was leaving work yesterday at like 5 o'clock, and I got a notification on my phone from the Sleeper app or from ESPN, and then but I just went to the app, because I thought it was like something. I was like, oh, it's my team. I only have one team on there. So I went to look at it, and it was nothing, But then my coworker called me. He's like, yo, you got that win tonight. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I was playing CMAC, my opponent in ESPN. Yeah. My opponent in ESPN had CMAC, and I had what's the kicker's name for the Jets?
Zerline?
Yeah.
Legatron?
everything. Yeah. So I was up by like 18 points with
Stead's up, but no big deal.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? With Zerline though, but he has Christian McCaffrey playing, so like I know I'm probably
that
not
is
gonna
scary
win.
for how the Jets played.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna win. And then and then it's announced that C-Mac's out last minute, essentially last minute. So for a lot of people that maybe didn't know, or people that are like, oh, I got Christian McCaffrey, I'm gonna win, it doesn't matter, not paying attention.
Yeah.
An auto sub feature, he's a great candidate for something like that, because we saw all week, that he was he didn't play all preseason,
Yeah, we talked about it in the pre early whatever shows that it's fine, it's not going to be a problem, but those soft tissue injuries, man, they have a way of sneaking and creeping back up and staying around. Yep. So I think it was just the Niners being precautious with McCaffrey. I don't know if it's actually really serious, but I think they were just being more cautious with their franchise running back and not risking a bigger, larger injury. He probably wasn't 100%. He's probably like, what, 95, 93?
Well, I mean, it came out today. He has Achilles tendonitis.
Oh.
So I don't know what that is. Let me look that up.
But don't they have to report this sort of stuff too, like for their lineups and whatnot?
Well, that's why it's coming out, right?
Well, before the game.
Oh, I would imagine. I don't know if they have.
Didn't the Bijan thing happen last year where all of a sudden
and he didn't play the game. He just didn't even play. Well, same thing, but it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't gonna play.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, they came out and they said that the 49ers came out and said it, and then let me see, they're saying he's day to day. Okay. According to Nick Wagner on Twitter, and I'm getting this news from the Sleeper app. Actually, I got this report from Fantasy Pros. So Fantasy Pros, Sleeper app, those are two I'm kind of going and
Fantasy Pros is good. I like them. So if any of you guys looking for some additional information on injuries and whatnot, highly recommend Fantasy Pros.
Yep, and it's cool because you can sync them up with your league.
Yes.
So whatever app you use, for the most part, the major ones, you can sync them up. Don't use NFL.com. They're crap. Their app is absolute crap. This weekend, I've been trying to log on to see my team on there, and sometimes I log on, and you can't even see it. It doesn't even register that you logged on. You have a team. So,
I dropped them a long time ago because of that sort of nonsense.
Man, I didn't even want to branch out, but the homies wanted to use that as like a free league. So I was like, all right, I'll join it and see it, but I'm pretty sure we're changing next year. Hopefully I can get them on the Sleeper app, but they all seem to be stuck on ESPN still. Everybody. I mean, ESPN is king.
Change is hard for some people.
It's very hard. It's very hard. But yeah, no, CMC, he's listed as day-to-day. He has Achilles tendonitis. And it's been an issue he's had, so it's not like it just came. And then Jordan Mason, top priority in leagues where he's still
stepped up, yeah. Here's the caveat to that auto sub thing, though, was the couple leagues I had CMC in, the way the waivers was set up is that, yes, Mason was available, but the waivers wouldn't process until Wednesday.
You had to drop CMC. Oh, well, he was on a waiver.
Yeah, but the thing is, so in my situation, I was winning, so it was a moot point. So I just left him in my lineup. I ended up winning the week, which is fine. But if I'm a person that's in the opposite situation, CMC was out. All my other bench players have played, and I wasn't able to pick up Jordan Mason in a frantic, quick pickup off of waivers to start him and then put CMC in my IR spot or whatnot because of some waiver settings in some leagues where there wasn't just, you could just pick up somebody and play him that was playing Monday night. So the auto sub isn't entirely cure-all fail-safe. You have to look into your league settings and check how the waiver wires are set too, because if you're not able to pick up and drop people the day of games and they have a processing period, well, then that auto sub feature has a little bit more of a restriction or not so much a convenience factor. Unless if you had Jordan Mason on your roster, which well played having him as your handcuff, you must have a really deep bench. But for others like myself in that situation, we just had to eat the goose egg and be mad.
Yeah, like my opponent in ESPN, he had to eat the goose egg for sure.
Mhm.
I ended up winning. I think, let me see my score. It ended up being 120 to 105. So there's definitely those
Man,
points he would have made up for,
yeah.
with C-Mac. I mean, I got 1 point from Greg Zerline.
Turns out they didn't even need him either. So
Didn't even need him. They gave 28 carries to Jordan Mason, man. He had
that's very that I don't know if you have them in your we'll get to it later on the show, I imagine, but that's very tasty for waiver ads for their going into week 2 if
yes.
CMC is
If you
still
can add them, though, I imagine,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's a lot of CMC owners are like, oh, let me jump on that and get that real quick. Hopefully, a lot of them, if you had, like, they're not in the position that you were in where they're winning. But then, like you said, if you're winning, you don't really look towards it because you
Like, how
assume
much of
that
your fab
C-Mac
do you
will be
think you're
back.
spending on?
What?
How much of the fab, or like, well, if you don't have waiver priority, how much fab are you think you're spending on a Jordan Mason this
Oh,
week?
man. That's hard.
I think it's hard to say because without
somebody that's picking them
CMC,
up, you know, they need them. That's why they went and snatched them up. I think it's going to be very few people going to drop players just to grab someone who's only going to be playing for a few weeks. Maybe. Who knows?
We don't know. We don't know.
Knows? Yeah, who knows? Like, maybe. I think that's Sam on Shady Sport. I don't know who that is who said what's up, but what's up? Whoever is logged in, most likely.
Yeah,
Sam.
what's
It
up,
could be
guys?
one of the other fellas.
Thanks for joining
from the
us. We
network.
appreciate the support.
Right? Always. I'm getting a little better about sharing the links out to people, and more so still the day of. But it's getting out there,
people.
though.
I'm still getting hype out. I'm
Hell yeah.
getting without
Well, when you
physically.
think of it now, I mean, like, shoot, like, this is it. We're here. Week 1's down. We've seen what happened. It's no more like, oh, well, maybe we'll see what happens when we get there. Like, now we're here. Now we've seen players. Now,
where do we want to start off first? The Monday night game or injuries over the weekend, or?
Yeah, I figured we could talk about the Monday night game, and then roll into injuries after that, because I guess that the Monday night game kind of wraps it up, right? Kind of wraps up the weekend, and then.
So what was the final score again? I don't
man,
remember off the top of my head.
32-19.
32-19. I also saw that they pulled Rodgers out of the game.
Did they? Yeah.
At some point.
Tyrod Taylor came in. He was 6 of 8 for 36 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and late weekend waiver wire ad I did in a lot of my leagues. I picked up Alan Lazard as an emergency bench spot with Hollywood Brown being out over the weekend and Roland Wilson, if you have him in your leagues, depending on what
it almost felt like Aaron Rodgers was determined to feed Alan Lazard, because if you watch the game,
I feel it makes sense because his time in Green Bay, he's his most familiar target, and then they have some chemistry over here now in New York. And it was really a dart throw. I wasn't really confident that he was going to have an amazing game that he had. I think he had like 20 some odd points in some leagues.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams had 0. I don't think Mike Williams had any targets.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think he even played.
He really seems like they're really keeping him on a pitch count and monitoring his play, which is very scary for people who may have drafted him in either dynasty or redrafts.
So, looking at this though, and we're gonna talk about San Francisco side because they had some. But looking at his Jet side though, with Lazard, putting up around 26 points, outshining Garrett Wilson, and it almost felt like Aaron Rodgers was trying. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. I watched a little bit of it in the beginning, but it felt like Aaron Rodgers was just trying to feed the ball to Lazard. What do you think about that going forward between him and Wilson? Because I mean, Wilson did have 2 more receptions. So I mean, it was really not a case that Lazard got more receptions or more targets. So, Wilson had 2 more targets. Sorry, not receptions. They both had 6 receptions. But Lazard did have the 2 touchdowns, meaning he's getting that work, right? He's
getting that goal line work, which is nice. I think he's a good bench stash for at least week 2, see how it goes, especially with Mike Williams' health. You don't know what's going on up there. with him and what they're planning to do with him on his play count and just what he's capable of doing after that injury. Xavier Gibson, I don't think he really stepped up enough to warrant a bench spot or a roster ad. So I think short-term, Allen Lazard is a good, if other players in your waiver queue get taken up or you don't end up with them, if he's still sitting there after priorities have processed, I would say he's a fair, legitimate flex spot if you need it in a pinch going into week 2. I'm not sure who the Jets are playing, but the fact that Aaron Rodgers was targeting him as much as he did and trusted him as much as he did in week 1 says that to me that he's at least worth a short-term ad. I wouldn't be dropping any. Yeah. Well, they're playing the Titans even better, because I don't think the Titans defense is all that. I mean, they did exceptionally well against the Bears, but it's the Bears. Everybody can play well against them. As far as the Jets receiving core goes, I think it's still Garrett Wilson. I think this was just a case of, we talked about it over the weekend. It's just two defenses that were stout and sharp playing against each other, and CMC didn't start, and Garrett Wilson had a so-so game. Short, like if before Monday night's game and the news came out of CMC, if you were to tell me that Garrett Wilson was going to be outplayed by Allen Lazard and CMC wasn't going to even play at all, I would have been like, what? Why? How?
Or that Jordan Mason would outplay Breece Hall.
That wasn't happy about that. But yeah, that is a factor going forward. I mean, it didn't help Breece Hall's case that he fumbled early. I think that kind of hurt. I think he had negative points there for a little bit. So, but I'm confident enough in that Jets offense. I think they'll rebound. It's just a bad matchup for them week 1, like playing the 49ers on the road. I mean,
yeah,
I think they did respectably. I didn't think they were the worst team that played over the weekend, but they certainly left a lot to be desired and mostly a disappointing performance from what I was expecting and how I hyped up that defense.
Yeah, defense got a whopping 2.40 points in my PPR.
I know.
32 points.
I'm sorry
they had
if
3
I lost
sacks,
you guys' lineups promoting the Jets.
They did have 3 sacks, though. So, I mean, it was just an unfortunate case where, I mean, San Francisco has a lot of firepower. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah, they were just dissecting the defense. They're at home. It's their home opener. Like, this is week 1. Like, I think these first 2 weeks, we can just kind of pump the brakes on the overreactions and the overhypes a little bit, because with them taking out a preseason game and most of the starters not getting a lot of reps with the first team and playing a whole lot together, and that flow and that chemistry and that tempo, I think it'll take this week and next week, hopefully not by week 3. Hopefully after next week's game, we can start seeing players settle in, schemes start settling in, and you can start seeing what sort of offenses these offenses are going to run and what kind of defenses are going to be showing up against these offenses, because there'll be a little bit of film. There'll be a little bit of stuff they can use and play off of going forward to give them that edge in their matchups. So aside from the injuries that happened over the weekend with those players that disappointed, I know it's rough. I lost a couple leagues because of it. Just breathe. It's only 1 week. And my motto is you just got to get to the dance. It's nice to be in the first seed, but you just got to get to the playoffs. Take it 1 week at a time. Don't overreact. Don't get overhyped. It's 1 week, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but you think so? I mean, come on now. Like, some of these players are drafted in high spots. You expect them to get, like, points. It's kind of...
I mean, it's definitely alarming, like, players like Chris Olave and DK Metcalf they're the ones on their team, and they played like 3s. And you got, Trevor Lawrence and Bo Nix, and you got these quarterback 1s on your team, and they played like quarterback 2s. It's frustrating, but again, I think that this is just getting the rust off and the dust off on these offenses. I mean, you would like to have it be more fluid and more points being scored, but that's how it's every week 1. It's just a gamble. It's a lottery ticket. After the draft and week 1 happens, you don't know who's going to hit, who's going to sink. Like, I'm sure a lot of people who drafted Caleb Williams and Puka, for example, they're expecting big 30-point games, and injuries happen, and that isn't the case. Or you drafted like a DK Metcalf or even a Jamar Chase and a Joe Burrow and these guys to like solidify and be stud in your lineup, and then just when they don't produce, I mean, yes, it's okay to be upset, but like don't overreact and go trading these guys for pennies on the dollar. They still have value. They still have worth. Just give it some time and let it all water settle, so to speak.
Yeah, and all in all, I mean, it was still a good game, I guess you could say. Oh, I went over to the wrong game.
It was a slobber knocker from what I saw, the condensed version. I mean, I think the 49ers had a good handle on that game after coming out of halftime, and they, credit to them to keeping the foot on the gas and throttling them so they didn't give any breathing room to the Jets or give them a sense of they could come back in this. And what is alarming to me with the game is the fact that the Jets pulled Rodgers. It's almost like that's something you do like in the preseason. Like, I mean, I understand the game's out of hand, but how many teams pull their starting quarterback?
Right. I guess what my question about this from this game, my takeaway from this game is how the heck it just feels like no matter who San Francisco has at running back, doesn't matter who they put in at quarterback, doesn't matter who they put in at tight end, who they bring in at safety, cornerback. It doesn't matter. On all of their major positions, the positions every other team's like, oh, we need to go get this right. We need to find this player. San Francisco can just plug a player in and get solid numbers. How do they get this guy? It's his second time even touching the field. How does this guy come in and go over 100, almost 150 yards? And then you got Javonte Williams, can't even get over 30 yards, man. What is going on? I don't understand how it works like that, man.
It makes
not to
wonder,
bring it back to the Broncos.
No, it's fine because it really raises the question too. Like, I think for the 49ers, it's that offensive line, that continuity there, and the coaching staff and the coaching. Like, they've got a level of excellence and just a standard there that is just higher than a lot of teams and a lot of organizations. And some of it, they get lucked into it with the Brock Purdy, the last pick of the draft, and like players like that. And each of these running backs that they keep finding in their system, and they just work. They just blend in, and it just benefits and goes for them. And it's almost like the Packers with franchise quarterbacks. It's just they find them and they just work, and it works for them, and they get a lot of production and performance out of those players. And it's frustrating for us and the rest of the league of like, how, why, enough. But it's really a tip of the cap to that organization, how they run from the top down on that coaching staff to get the most out of their players and have that level of excellence and standard for such a long period of time and keep just turning through over and over again. So players like CMC not playing, it isn't a big hit, where on other teams that'd be like, that's our offense, it's gone.
It's crazy. Like Juwan Jennings wasn't playing either, and it didn't even matter. People were like, who is Juwan Jennings? But he only threw and ran for touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like,
to bring it the Broncos way, like, I feel if you put Javonte Williams behind that line with the 49ers, he probably would have had a field day.
Man, he was just slipping a lot. He was tripping and slipping.
Yeah, and weird. Like, there's something to that, because even the Lions players in that Sunday night game, there was a lot of slipping and tripping all over the field. For all these games in week one, I've noticed there's a lot of just bad field management or just turf control. Like, I don't know if it comes down to the grounds crew or like weather conditions in some of these cases, but it's dangerous for the players, and it's dangerous for the game when the turf isn't up to NFL standards, and it's that slippery or that dangerous for players to be playing on.
Speaking of the Lions,
that gets turned around in week 2, but that's another observation I had, was just the quality of the fields.
Yeah, no, hopefully that definitely gets turned around, because I mean, you even saw it. I mean, granted, I thought the Brazil game was just the Brazil game being on a soccer field, but then it just carried over to a lot of these other games.
Yeah.
And then with that Lions game, man, Montgomery, almost doubling up on,
y'all doubted him.
Yards.
Don't start him, they said. Can't start two
well,
running
he
backs.
was. I mean, he was a starter. It's not like he just came out of nowhere.
Well, I got a lot of questions in the sleeper apps and stuff, and people like, "Oh, I don't know if I should start Montgomery or this guy, or Montgomery or that guy." And for all of you who listened and started him, I hope he won you your weeks and shown you that this is Dan Campbell's plan. They're going to run the ball. David Montgomery is their starter, and he's their closer. Mm-hmm. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to fill those gaps and stretch those drives out and make those big plays. But as you saw from Sunday night, when Rock hits the grindstone and they need to get that W, just put it in David Montgomery's hand and he can close it out. He's a very capable running back, and he's a very talented running back.
Well, I mean, the experts still got him ranked way below Gibbs, so I don't even see where he is on this list for fantasy.
It does help too to have an offensive line that has that much continuity and that level of excellence and just greatness on it. Mm-hmm. Like this.
Somebody needs to tell that to the.
It was like they flipped a switch in the overtime. It took them 8 plays to score. Where the whole second half, they only put up 3 points. That's insane.
Championship teams do championship things when it's time to do them, right? Somebody needs to tell that continuity. What did you say? Continuity? How do you say that? Somebody needs to tell that to the Colorado Buffs. Can't just buy your team every year. But that's how it goes.
Who are you taking this? I hate to bring it back to college, but I'm actually interested. I'm going to watch this game. Who are you taking, Colorado or Colorado State?
Ooh, Colorado. Colorado State, man. That was nice last year. They took it to the wire last year, but hopefully Colorado.
I personally like Colorado State.
I know. But they're going to lose. They're going to lose.
I know, but
I'm going to go to a commercial. Our latest promo. And
going to ads? Oh, I thought you were watching
it. I'll be right back, guys. We'll be right back. We'll play the Shady Sports promo, and then we'll be right back. And we're going to talk on some of these injuries on the other side.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's ghosting.
Yo. Thought I'd make it back in time. I
had to do the solo here for a second. I was going to be like, but I'm
I was like, he got it. Nah, but no, but interesting that game too, back to this Lions-Rams game. Speaking of injuries, because
here we go.
We were talking about it, and we were watching it live. I mean, we're kind of watching, especially when Puka went down, right? So
it was scary because it was a non-contact from as much as I saw of the play. He was following his route, cuts in like on a slant, and he just towards the end of the play, he just drops down and goes right to his knee, which is not usually a good indication of severity of the injury. That's usually a non-contact injury is something serious. And it turns out that him being placed on IR, he's going to miss a minimum of 4 games. Oof. For people in their lineups, they're going to have to pivot now. I mean, for a good month, you have to find a replacement for Puka. And for those of you who are a truther and a believer in Puka this year and drafted him as high as he did, that's a bummer. And that's an unfortunate event that it came to an injury to hit your lineup like that. But, you got to bounce back and find a replacement. I mean, otherwise it's the Cooper Kupp show in LA. I was saying it all in the offseason and last year is once Cooper comes back, he's going to be the number one in that offense. It's his offense, and it's going to continue to be that way now that Puka is out. So as far as waiver ads over the weekend to replace a Puka, I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know any wide receivers that could be on your waivers that really stood out to me. I mean, the big boom plays of like Alec Pierce for the Colts, but those are just one-off broken plays. You don't know if that's just a going to be like a standard there, or if it was just big plays. So I would throw him in your IR for sure, and then try to find a replacement somewhere on the waiver wire, depending on your leagues and your league situation. Which throw us
what
your
about
question.
what about like Shahid or like
Absolutely. If he's on your waiver wire still, absolutely go grab
Mhm.
Shahid off the waiver wire. He'd be a good replacement to put for a Puka Nakua. So
do you
in
think
your
that's
lineup,
gonna
what?
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say,
No,
do you think that's gonna continue?
for Shahid, I don't know. I
Mhm.
feel like the Saints are going to have to throw the ball a lot more this year than relying on their running game because, yeah, they play the Panthers week 1. That's not going to happen every week. It's only going to happen one more time this year. Next week, they play the Cowboys in Jerry World. So we'll see how Derek Carr and that offense goes against the Cowboys defense that just ran it up over the Browns,
Yeah.
which isn't
What
that hard
about
because the Browns are trash.
what about like Greg Dortch?
Who are they playing week 2?
The Rams.
The Rams? Ooh. Yeah, I'll go with the Greg Dortch to put in your flex because the Cardinals are going to have to throw the ball. We saw it with the Lions game. I think the Rams are a stout defense. They're a good defense and a good team. And if Matt Stafford's going to be slinging that ball as well as he did Sunday night, I mean, the Cardinals are going to have to find points somewhere. They're going to have to find people to step up and catch the ball for Kyler Murray. I don't think that Marvin Harrison Jr. and McBride are going to be that quiet again this week. They should probably have a turnaround and have more of an impact on the game. But for a good fill-in wide receiver for that position there in a flex or possibly a wide receiver 3, I think Greg Dortch would be a solid add off the waiver wire if he's still sitting there after the waivers process. I wouldn't necessarily put a high number of fab towards him, but I'd also, if he's there, keep an eye on it. If he's one of the best options available, I think, yeah, that's a solid ad.
Yeah, or what about maybe like Tyler Johnson? Just
Tyler
looking at their
Johnson.
team, do you think that would be a good direction to go in, or maybe? I guess against those other guys, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, if Greg Dortch is available or Tyler Johnson, I would go Greg Dortch. If Rashid Shaheed is available or Tyler Johnson, I would go Rashid Shaheed. Like Tyler Johnson would be one of those options where it's like, I missed out on this guy or that guy in the waivers, but he's still sitting here. He'll be a great fill-in because the Rams are going to have to use him. He's going to be there out of necessity. He's not going to get nearly the volume of Cooper Kupp, but he's going to, stretch the field for the team, could find the empty holes in the defense or open spaces and get some. He's capable of the big play. We saw it Sunday night with that big catch and run of 60 yards. I mean, that was also an example of defenders slipping on the turf, missing tackles, and a play breaks. But sometimes that's all it takes for you to get your points you need to win your matchups is a broken play. And Tyler Johnson has showed he's capable of doing that when that opportunity comes calling.
So another wide receiver injured also. The rookies wide receiver or Chicago Bears rookie wide receiver, Roman Duze.
What happened to him?
High ankles or a grade 1 knee sprain.
Ooh. Oh. I mean, that sucks for him. I think I don't know. Is he going to miss time? You think?
Let me see if they have anything on it.
Because I think on Sleeper it shows him as questionable, but I don't know if that just means like during the game he was questionable to return, or if he's just questionable to practice this week. But that's your first round pick. I think the Bears, if they're smart, they'll be more conservative with him. Take time to let him heal that injury and don't do any risk on it. We'll see how well he practices if he does practice, but it does raise a little concerns if you drafted him and he's your wide receiver 2 or flex option. I mean, especially if he's your wide receiver 1 option, you're going to have to find just a safe bench ad just in case he were to miss the game. So like a Shaheed or Dortch, like you mentioned, would be great fill-ins in case if he's not good to go on Sunday. The caveat to that is, too, They play Sunday night against the Texans. So you
say
won't
it's
know.
week to week.
Yeah, so we won't know until an hour or so before game time Sunday night, and those other matchups are going on through the day. You have to make that decision early on if you want to risk it and play a Dunze, hope he is a go, or just put one of your fill-in guys that you picked up off the waivers this week or one of your bench wide receivers to fill that spot for him while he recovers.
Well, you probably had a Dunze in your flex spot if you had him in, though, right? Like you didn't have him. You didn't have a Dunze in your starting spot, right? Like,
well, there's some dynasty leagues where that was a situation that I've seen in some leagues, but
dynasty, dynasty's hard. I got the lowest points in my dynasty this week, so dynasty's a different beast, man. Other injuries, Jordan Love, so he avoided IR. He's not.
Yeah, that was the one injury that surprised me the most, though, because it was the penultimate play of one of the last plays of the game, and then he goes out. But I'm happy that it's not a serious injury. It looked really bad, but I'm glad it's not a serious injury. He's going to come back because that's a lot of fantasy points. It's a lot of fantasy value, and also as just a player and a person too, it's not good to see people with that sort of injury to have.
Right.
So the fact that it was as not severe as it was, and his ACL's intact, there's an MCL sprain. He'll be back after a month or so. So you have to find some potential replacements for him in the meantime, which on your waiver wire, just based off of week 2 matchups that I know off the top of my head, a Geno Smith would be a good replacement. He's playing the Patriots. Who else would be good? That would possibly be on the waiver wire. Maybe.
Well, in my league, I mean, you got Stafford. It was an 18 week. So let's go
certainly
down
Stafford.
Fields, I would say Fields would be a good pickup. He looked pretty sharp out there. Malik
and
Willis,
I think he is
might even
against the Broncos this weekend. I think they announced it because Wilson was watching on the sidelines. That's why I wish Shawnee was on here today so I hear you guys talk about your matchup coming up this weekend, Steelers and Broncos, and the implications of fantasy going into that, where you guys think your guys' players are going to match up on points level. If Javante's going to have as bad of a game as he did, or is Najee going to have a better game, or what? You know what I mean?
Oh, man, that's a good one, right? Is Bo Nix going to outplay?
Oh, he's going to outsling Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I have the Broncos taking the Steelers at home opener.
I know. I got to get your picks up there. I should have put them on paper so I could have put them on.
Oh, whoops.
We'll get that there.
No, I think the Broncos will have a bounce back. It's hard playing on the road, home opener in Seattle with the 12th man, high expectations. You know, new rookie quarterback, new offense, essentially, that they're playing underneath him. I mean, it definitely shows there's a cutoff between preseason and regular season. So as he gets more reps, as he gets more play times, more downs, he'll get more comfortable in that offense. He'll be able to find his weapons, and he'll be a lot better off. And I think it starts this weekend against the Steelers, because that Steelers defense is relentless and merciless, and they're going to force Bo Nix to make plays with his feet. It's going to make him make plays by throwing the ball and finding guys, because he's going to have less time and then higher chances to have mistakes, but also have higher rewards in broken coverage and reading defenses. I feel like he's fully capable of doing it, and which would be a good replacement if you have Bo Nix for a Jordan Love, that I'm confident in him playing against the Steelers at home. Hot take, said? You think it's a hot?
Hot takes. I got hot takes all day.
My hot take is Javonte Williams will outperform Najee Harris this weekend.
Ooh, boom. That's a boom.
That's a boom.
That is a boom and not a bust. Javonte Williams will outperform Najee Harris. That's not a hot take.
In
that's
fantasy.
Given. That's given. That's not
That's given. I don't know. I'm sure
Broncos are coming home with the dub this weekend. We should have had the dub this past weekend. It looks so sloppy in some parts, but
it's like they say sometimes, you just ran out of time. The clock ran out. Just ran out of time.
If only we'd had 2 more days in the game, we would have won. I promise. No, but couple other injuries though. We got Jake Ferguson expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh,
with
wow.
an MCL sprain.
So Spoon Man,
Yeah,
if he's
and I was
available in
gonna
your
say
league.
Jake Ferguson maybe wasn't that relevant, but when you look at tight end scores,
Oh man, it was rough.
it was
I
rough.
had the Travis Kelce's, I had the Mark Andrews everywhere. I heard on tight ends this weekend, that is for sure.
Ferguson is 1.5 points. Wasn't
Oof.
too far off. Dalton Kincaid's 1.1 point, or Mark
What was
Andrews
going on with
1.4
that, man?
points. Hey, George Kittle, I think Kyle Pitts was number 2. Isaiah Likely was number 1 with 17.1 points.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, we'll say it again. Kyle Pitts, 3
Whoa.
receptions, 26 yards, had a tutty in the first game.
Kirk Cousins looked bad. Kirk Cousins
looks scared.
Yeah, that was rough. We'll see how it goes here next week. I don't know who they're playing. You did.
Maybe
They're
that's
playing
why
the
they
Eagles
drafted.
Monday night.
Maybe that's why they drafted Penix.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, how
Maybe
long?
they
If he
knew.
keeps playing like that, how long are they going to call for it?
Yeah, they knew something. Another tight end, Njoku, a little bit higher up in the rankings than was he? I guess I don't know. Let's see what he have.
Well, here's the thing though, with how bad the tight ends did this week, how comfortable are you feeling with your tight end situation with all these injuries? I mean, I
like my tight end situation
for them.
I like my tight end situation personally.
Well, I know you're a goat.
I got Trey McBride. I got
Sam Laporta everywhere.
Laporta everywhere else. I got Dalton Schultz in this one league in my keeper league. So I mean, I'm good with my tight ends. But yeah, if you were chasing and you ended up with try maybe drafted Kelsey a little earlier.
That was me.
One of those other guys, and yeah, maybe you're like, yeah, but it's tight end though, right? You just wait and let that kick in. That you can wait a little bit longer than you can go a little bit past weeks 1 and 2 on tight end. So maybe like week 6, 7, and you're getting crap points, and you're kind of screwed. There's nowhere to go though. Where are you gonna go? But I mean, there's nowhere to go regardless. Like even if you do start looking for other, alternatives, you're better to stick with what you have than to look at other ones, because if what you have isn't getting it, I guarantee the other ones aren't either. Even like chasing Isaiah Likely he's not going to put those points up every week. Well, and maybe it'll prove me wrong. If he's still putting those points up in week 4 and 5, then I'll be, maybe then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm high up on him. But I still think it's the Mark Andrews show. So it's not, right? So
and real quick, everybody out there, like with your lineups with these injuries, send us your screenshots, tag us with your lineups and your roster questions. We can help you out with finding these replacements for players that you have injured, or just questions on who you are deciding on between your lineups that are going into week 2. I mean, the Bills and the Dolphins play on Thursday, so those big questions there. Mo started Devon Achane. I mean, both of them.
Yeah.
Because I think Achane got hurt as well, too.
They didn't practice today.
Oh, see, I'm glad I brought that up, because that'll affect your Thursday night games here. We have to monitor this practice situation.
That's why they got that running back in the draft.
That Jalen Wright? Oh, that'd be a good ad if he's available. You never know. I mean, if you have available bench spot to stash players like him, go and do it. But you have to be quick on it because they play Thursday night.
Our Betty in the first place don't run with Achane. Why are you running with them?
Yeah, right. I tried telling y'all.
Yeah. But either way, yeah, they didn't practice today, so I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. Lamar Jackson also didn't practice today.
We'll know more by tomorrow night whether or not. What?
We'll try to get some updates in the group. You guys should join our Facebook group.
Yes,
please. Fantasy Football Reports, and we'll have information on these injuries and get updates to you guys.
I didn't know about this Lamar Jackson one.
Well, he just had some soreness. He didn't practice today, but he should be good to go.
Or from getting his butt kicked by the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, C-Mac said he was going to be good to go, and look what happened.
Right?
So.
I mean, my fantasy strategy is I like to angle on the side of caution. I like to have backup plans because I don't like having this whole idea of just running my stars and my studs and expecting greatness out of them, and then it could be a CMC situation happening, and then you're really burnt out. So you got to be vigilant after the draft. You have to pay attention to those waiver wires. You have to pay attention to your fab, how much you're spending. And if you can, now's the time. It's hawk time. You got to find those people who are upset and mad about their studs and their star players busting them on week 1. Try to catch them while they're sleeping. Try to pull a trade off to get those star players, because you know it's not going to just be the way it is after week 1. Those guys will bounce back. They'll have a better week. So if you can, try to get trades out of these players that disappointed. Yeah, I play all the hits, DJ Justin.
Coming in. Yes, can we get a round of applause for this guy? No, but seriously, and it's week 1, so right, you don't, maybe you're not, jumping to maybe you're not like jumping to change your players up or change your teams up. You're not, scared. I don't know, whatever. It's week 1. Like,
so with players like Puka, are you panicking and trying to trade them away, or are you trying to hold on to them and just trying to find replacements?
No, because
are you trading for players like that? Like, are you
should have had your replacement already, right, from your draft, right? You should have had that player already.
Yeah,
in there. I don't know. I feel like, something like that, you have it ready, you're good to go. So if it does happen, one player, then you can keep it moving. Now, if you had like 1 or 2 of your wide receivers go down, maybe,
like what if you have Puka and Odunze?
Oh yeah, if you had Odunze, you probably got him sitting on your bench ready to replace Puka with him, right? So now you're like, oh shoot. But then like those guys we mentioned, Greg Dortch, Adam, or was it Lazard? Shaheed.
Yeah, Lazard too. That'd be a good one.
Brian, what is it? Brian Johnson, Brian Robinson Jr.
Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah,
Brian
certainly.
Thomas
If he's sitting up there on your waivers.
Yeah, he would probably be in the waivers.
You gotta be vigilant. You gotta be like people like in Sed's League that are up at 2 a.m. doing the waiver wires, so you don't wake up the next morning seeing all these people disappeared.
Exactly. You got to be, as soon as you see it happen, honestly, you got to be looking at it and see, because you can't, most leagues you can't add it right away, right? Because you got all your players playing.
For sure. Yeah.
Everybody's locked in on Monday night, right? So you weren't able to go in and change things. But sometimes you are. Like in Sunday night, if you can catch it, right? Like say it's in the morning game. If you can catch it like before the evening games go into play, you can probably drop some players on your bench that were in the evening games to get the waiver. Yeah. But it's a waiver wire anyway. So if you can get it started, or I guess it doesn't really matter, because it all depends on where you are in your waiver wire.
I think it only really matters for the Thursday night game. So if you have players in that game, getting those waivers in ahead of time.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as long as but I just think the thing is to pay attention and know that those players are there.
Yeah.
And to be able to jump on it and have a couple of backups, because just like you're looking at it, other people, there are 1 or 2 people in your league that are just watching those players to be able to grab them and stash them. You know what I mean? Like, you can never have too many good players. Like, that's the thing about fantasy football. You can never have too many players getting points. I don't care what they say.
And my philosophy they're going to sit on my bench. For the waiver wire and stuff, if you believe in a guy, use your fab. It's digital money. It isn't your money. It isn't real money. But if you believe in a guy, go get him. Use your fab. Personally, I like to err on the side of like frugalness and like spread out my fab throughout the year. But if you believe in a guy and what he's going to do right now and you want to get him, don't hesitate with your fab. Do it. Go after and get him.
What's your fab?
For a lot of the leagues I'm in, the fab is, I think, either $100 or $1,000.
And that's money you get to spend on waiver wire?
It's $1,000, but if it's a redraft league, it's $100.
Okay. And that's money for your waiver wire?
Yeah.
Waiver wire auctions.
So, like, for Shaheed, for Lazard, for Tyler Johnson, for Dortch, I'd probably drop about $5-10 on them. 10 at the tops, but 5 just minimum. I mean, I like to do prices right rules. If I don't really need him, but I like him on my team, I'll do the put the dollar bid in. So someone who just threw a waiver claim on him for free, you put $1 in, you get him, and you only spent $1 to get the guy you wanted.
Yeah,
but
right.
But on players I want, like I really like, and I want to get on my team, you best believe I'm throwing that fab at it. I don't care how much I spend. If it's the guy I want, I believe in that he's going to help my team going forward for a while, especially for a Puka. So like these guys so if I'm trying to replace Puka right now, I'm willing to spend maybe, depending on the player, $20, $30 on fab to make sure I can get them if I believe that their talent and their performances can be carried out through the duration that Puka is going to be missing. So for those 4 weeks that he'll be gone, if I feel that like Greg Dortch is going to perform to a standard that's like about, equivalent to his value, well, then that's where my fab will go to. And if it's not, then I won't spend it. I mean, it's just really, and it's also team construction too. And like, if you have like Tyreek Hill and like other like stud all-star wide receivers on your team, you probably don't need to invest so much in a wide receiver while Puka's sitting, because players like Tyreek and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, they'll hopefully, for where you draft them, they'll carry your team and fill that hole for a little bit.
So what was your record this weekend?
Nah, we're not gonna.
What was your record? Come on.
Well, let's go through it. My one league, I lost. My 32 team dynasty league, I won. The other league I'm in, I lost. And then, so I'm in 8 or 9 leagues, and I won. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of my 9 leagues, I won 6 out of the 9. But one of the leagues doesn't really count because it's a guillotine league. I just didn't get chopped.
Oh, okay. What do you
then
think about
the other league too? Was a vampire league, and I didn't get vampired on. So
you didn't get your blood suckled up.
Yeah. So those leagues, I just wasn't the worst person. But from a majority, 6 out of the 9 leagues, I'll take it for week 1. Usually, traditionally, week 1, I lose. Like, I just go into it with fantasy thinking, whatever, it's going to be catching L's. But I rode some W's. It was nice. Other ones, I just lost because I ended up playing the person who just exploded. It was like the second or top scoring team in the league. And I was like, nothing I can do. I mean, most of my guys performed. I know I had DK and Chris Olave in a lot of leagues, and they effed me. They screwed me over.
I was about to touch on that. Who were your buzz? So we had Olave,
my biggest
Harrison.
ones. For me, my biggest buzz. So in one league, if I told you before week 1, this is my league that went with my buddies. My wide receivers are Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf. Those are my starting wide receivers. I got, it looks like 12 points out of all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think that's like my let me see. Who let me down in my wide receiver?
In this other league I'm in, I have DK Metcalf, Chris Olave, and Jamar Chase. And I got 20 points out of all 3 of them.
Well, most of that was Chase, right?
Yep. So in the leagues that I lost in, it was my wide receivers that decided that week 1 was not for them. Which is all right. That's fine. That's cool.
You know who let me down?
Drake London. I knew it.
Yep. But I mean, I still won that league.
Yeah.
I had Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill holding it down. But
see, that's where it doesn't hurt as much though. Like you still won. Like when you don't have those players performing that you drafted high on, and they're literally the reason why I lost.
And I think I drafted him pretty high too.
Because because those wide receivers I drafted as my studs, like my wide receiver ones and sometimes wide receiver twos.
Uh-huh.
And when they have one of their wide receivers scoring more points alone than my combination of wide receivers, it really sets you behind. It really puts you in a hole.
Yeah.
Because wide receivers are a pivotal position in fantasy. They have the PPR aspect of it, the big playability aspect of it, and then the absolute ability to just dominate your matchup and just blow up and explode.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't get that, it hurts.
I had a WTF too that was a bust, but it wasn't a bust because I knew it was a bust, but I don't know. I thought it wasn't going to be a bust. That was Zamir White. I had faith in him.
Well, I watched every snap of that game, and I was just like, what is going on? Raiders are going to Raider. That's what hurts in fantasy. Raiders are going to Raider, and they're going to cause you to lose your mind for fantasy because on paper, these guys are supposed to ball out, but the Raiders Raider, and they find a way to not let your fantasy pieces on that team perform and do well because the Raiders.
And I'm taking him out.
It's frustrating because and Madison only did better because he had that one broken play and he ends up with 13 points or something like that.
So you're out on Raiders players?
Out of the running backs, I think I am. I just need to wait and see because Madison was getting a lot of work with Zamir White, and I thought for where I drafted Zamir White, I thought he was going to be the guy. I thought he was going to be the one. I thought he was going to be the workhorse. Yeah. I thought he was going to get all the early down stuff. I thought he was going to get the passing down stuff, and they really split it up between him and Madison, and that worries me. I don't know if that was just a symptom of the game plan and just how the flow of the game was working or coaching or what. So as far as the running backs, I think I'm out right now. I need to see it a couple weeks before I start investing or trusting them in my lineups for starting. The quarterbacks, I ain't starting Minshew. That was bad. That looked horrible. Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, I think you can still play them in your wide receiver 2 or at least flex spot.
If you have to.
Very minimum. And then the tight ends, I think I still have to wait and see on the tight ends too with Bowers and Mayer.
Oh no, Bowers! I think Bowers was good, right? Hold on, let me see. What did Bowers have?
I know he did score a touchdown.
Hold on, Brock Bowers.
I think he got. I take back. Bowers did. I think he got between 10 and 15 points.
I think I can pull him up. Look for him.
Yeah, fact check me right now. I might have spoke too soon.
Yeah, bro. Don't be smoking down on the Brock.
It's the Raiders. All right.
Nah, so Fantasy Pros got him as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, wow.
The 9th tight end going into next week into week 2, but he had 5.8 points, 6 receptions for 58 yards.
But I think for all the tight ends this week, I'm just flipping the table. I'm wiping the dry erase board. Like, it was a bad week. It just, it's a wash. Like, I just throw it out. By week 3 or 4, I could start really evaluating where the tight ends are sitting and how things are going. But, like, if this week coming up is anything like week 1, I think it's just rust and dust and a little musty there. So,
yeah.
I would just wait and see. I wouldn't panic yet. I wouldn't panic on any of the tight ends.
And that's what the pros are saying, too. I got the rankings pulled up. So, for going into week 2, and this is from 41 different experts. I mean, I can go down and tell you, or you can go to Fantasy Pros and look at them. So these are Fantasy Pros experts from all over. I mean, football guys, Roto Baller, the game. Pretty much they just compiled them all from all the apps that we all use and like and love. So they got Sam Laporta at number 1, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, George Kittle at 4, Kyle Pitts at 5, and Mark Andrews at 6. So, and then you got Dalton Kincaid, Isaiah Likely, Brock Bowers, and Evan Ingram. So it is crazy to see that they threw Isaiah Likely up in there just based off his performance, but they still don't feel super high up on him, right?
Yeah.
And then, you even see Taysom Hill in there Even though he only had one reception for 1 yard, but he also I think he had like 30 rushing yards.
But I think the Saints tight ends as a whole, they did well. Like Foster Moreau got a touchdown, I believe, and Juwan Johnson got a touchdown.
For the Saints, yeah. So
Well,
that's a weird.
That level of tight ends, I feel like that's what you're shooting for is a touchdown and a handful of yards.
Yeah, so I was gonna say you're not really dependent on their tight ends.
Yeah.
On the Saints anyway. So if you are, you're screwed. So that's just what it is, people. I'm just being real. So no, but I got the tight end rankings up there, and yeah, that was the top 10 guys on the tight ends. But running backs, it was interesting to see.
Wow.
Because they got Bijan Robinson is number 1. Saquon Barkley is 2. I think it was switched up because I think a little bit earlier had Saquon Barkley as number 1, and then Bijan is number 2. But they still got Breece Hall up there going into next week.
Bijan too. After what I saw this weekend.
What was that?
After what I saw this weekend, I'd definitely have Barkley over Bijan. That's for sure.
Man, Barkley came out beast
3
mode.
touchdowns. What more else can you ask for? A 4th?
Woo! 31 points, 109 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, no fumbles. Didn't turn the ball over.
Yep.
Saquon came out. He came out like a man on a mission, ready to prove the Giants wrong and make them look so dumb.
Yep. I can't wait for them to play the Giants this year. I want to watch that game.
Yeah.
He's going to destroy them.
He should just get Shorzy to sit on the sideline and just go, so dumb. Every time he scores on them. No, but I think, but I don't know how they have Bijan up there. And I think it's just because CMC's hurt, right? Because he'd be up there, right? But probably. I mean, you saw some good you saw some pretty good running out of like Pacheco.
And Breece Hall didn't do good either, so that's probably why.
Well, so I think let me see what they got. So I can pull up all the experts got him one. His best is a running back 1. His worst is running back 5 between those 41 guys, and then running back 3 is about his average. So that's why they got him at 3. But that's it. Hold on. So sorry. Let's get a PPR. PPR they got him as number 2 running back. His best is running back 1. His worst is running back 4. But that's going against Tennessee. That's why the strength of schedule. So they feel that Tennessee is not as tough as San Francisco was for them.
Damn.
I'm talking about Breece Hall, not Bijan.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Bijan though, because I think just Bijan just because like Kirk Cousins sucks.
Facts.
But they're playing Philly. This is gonna be a good running game to see the two go back and forth. But I mean,
I think out of those two, I think Barkley outperforms Bijan this weekend.
So Bijan, his best is running back 1, his worst is running back 11, and his average is running back 1. That's weird, and that's in standard. Yeah. Sorry, in PPR, I don't know. I keep clicking standard. PPR's worst is running back 8, and it's just the majority of them have him as running back 1. Let's see. So Bijan's usage is what fantasy managers were hoping for last year, but better late than never. I think this is just talking about last year. I don't know, because I thought Algier looked good too, though.
Yeah.
In that game, honestly. But, I mean, you know, I mean, 1 and 2 are going up against each other. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Who would you rather have in that matchup on your fantasy team? Would you rather have Bijan or Saquon?
But then Saquon, like...
Yeah.
Saquon let me down a lot, too, in the past.
He did. I remember the year that I drafted him first overall, and that was the year he got hurt. And then the next year I drafted CMC first overall, and he was hurt. So I don't like the first overall pick in drafts. I usually take a running back, and they end up getting hurt.
Yeah. Matthew Adams says he'll be a top 3 running back so this weekend against the Falcons. So
easily. He's going to rip through that defense.
And then,
I took the Eagles in my picks, too.
Huh?
I believe I took the Eagles in my picks.
Let's see, I have them right here. I can pull them up. And see. Yo, what's up, guys? You out here? Y'all are just joining in. Looks like we had quite a bit
your
of people.
wins, your losses,
Yeah. It's Shady Sports Fantasy Football Report on Shady Sports Network.
Week 1.
Week 1. Going over week 1. Booms, bust. Boom, bust. Booms. Whatever. Going over the week 1 events. We had a lot of happenings. All the teams played. There were no bye weeks, obviously, with it being the first week. So everybody played.
Yeah.
We got to see a glimpse. We got to see what direction people were wanting to head in. And we got to see a lot of good. There was a lot of bad, too. And I'm not even talking about Carolina. We're not even going to touch on that, right? So we'll see. I mean, the Saints, Derek Carr. Let's see. What did his numbers look like?
I think like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And is that a waiver wire pickup, or is that just playing against the Panthers?
I would not pick up Derek Carr and play him against the Cowboys.
No,
that would be my advice.
Man, what's up with these kickers competing against each other? These kickers are outscoring quarterbacks.
I don't get it.
Yeah, Derek Carr had 21.3 points. I don't know, man. Like, I think that's
kickers,
what it is.
Man.
I think I would pick up Derek Carr and see how he did this weekend against the Cowboys and base it
I mean, if you have a Jordan Love, I mean,
yeah, Derek
you
Carr
got
did
no
good
choice.
pickup. Yep. But I mean, shoot, Aubrey outscored Derek Carr.
Put a goddamn kicker in your quarterback spot.
I wish you could, right? Like, let's see what waiver wire kicker pickups. You might need a kicker, man.
If you do pick up the Chargers kicker against the Panthers,
right? Pick up all the Chargers against the Panthers, right?
Yep. Start all your Chargers this week.
Herbert's a good waiver wire pickup. I know we're bouncing all over, guys. We're just chopping it up here. We're on some hot stuff right now. That's true.
Yeah, we're hot takes, booming and busting, disappointing and exciting. We're all over the place.
All over the place.
Wild.
So you're tuning in, Shady Sports Fantasy Football Reports. This is episode 14. But this is recapping week 1 of the NFL.
For me, I have a question for you.
A question for me.
After week 1, who is your biggest disappointment in fantasy?
Patrick
overall?
Mahomes. Oh, sorry. I went too quick, huh?
No, you're fine.
No.
I meant through all positions, everywhere, like just an overall, like your largest, your biggest, your hugest fantasy disappointment for what you're expecting going into the season.
Drake London and Patrick Mahomes. Just
That's
because I was
fair.
like, I talked all that trash on Drake London. I was like, I'm going to eat my words, and then what happens?
What's it called?
3 targets.
He pumped you.
He was like, yeah, you want me? I'll show you what's going on. DK Metcalf too, right? Like, I didn't even have Metcalf, but I've been high up on him, and it's seeming, I guess it's more so team play, right?
I have an even bigger one over DK Metcalf for me.
Who was that? Gibbs? No, not Gibbs. St. Brown. Actually, St. Brown, I would have to say would be my biggest one because I think I did pick him as like my first pick.
Yeah, I mean, for what you're expecting, like I knew it was going to be a tough assignment though, playing against the Rams opening night, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. But it was bad. But I think that's his worst performance of the year, barring any injury. Knock on wood. I think that's going to be his worst outing in fantasy. 3 catches for 13 yards. I don't think it gets any worse than that. But for me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Joe Burrow was the biggest disappointment in fantasy over the weekend. You're playing the Patriots at home in your home opener. Jamar Chase is playing. You have a functioning offense. And, like, people drafted you high as, like, their quarterback 1 in a lot of leagues. That's their guy. And he literally just dropped the ball. I think he busted. As far as all the quarterbacks, I don't know what the quarterback rankings after week 1 look like or whatever. Like, I don't even care about the stats as much as I care about what I saw, what it looked like. He looked like he didn't care. He looked like he didn't want to be a leader. He looked like he didn't want to play. He just looked like he was out there going through the motions. It was pathetic. And it doesn't give me confidence starting him on the road against Kansas City this weekend. Like, would you want to start him after doing that against the Patriots at home? Like, I try not to overreact or overhype week 1, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean,
do you think he's going to do any better or any worse against Kansas City?
I'm not the biggest Joe Burrow fan though.
I know. Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But
so you're kind of like, I told you so?
No, not even. Not even, but Kansas City has a good defense, man.
Yeah.
I think they got a better defense than the Patriots.
They made Lamar work for it. So, like, Lamar had to work for that.
He had to rush for 120 yards.
Yeah. And how do you think Joe Burrow, a not mobile quarterback, and looking like he did week 1, is going to look like in Arrowhead? He's going to get embarrassed.
It's in Kansas City, too?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know what? Honestly, though, the Bengals always play Kansas City good, though. That's the thing. They got Kansas City's number. It's like a mental thing or something, or where it's drawn up in the script or however.
As a fantasy player, you better hope so, because otherwise you're shaking in your boots whether or not you want to play any of them in week 2.
Yeah.
Like here, I have a scenario in a situation in one of my leagues. Would you start Joe Burrow as your QB1 against Kansas City on the road? Or would you start Justin Herbert on the road against the Panthers?
Herbert.
All right.
But then, yeah, that'd be the case. You put Herbert in, and then the Panthers decide to have their one good game of the season. You know what I mean?
No, dude. I will say right here after this week 1, sell your Panthers. Sell, don't.
No Chuba?
No, they're bad. That was bad. They said they improved their offensive line. It didn't look like it. They added weapons and wide receivers like Deontay Johnson and Leggett. I didn't see anything from him. Adam Thielen was a ghost of himself, but he was a leading receiver because you have to have one technically on your team.
Well, I mean, isn't that the reason he's not with the Vikings anymore? Is because he's been a ghost of himself. Like, it's crazy that he's been there. He was their leading receiver last year. I mean, granted, his experience. I'm not saying Adam Thielen was Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp.
Yes.
So I'm not saying he's no slouch for sure.
But he's just in a bad situation. Like, Bryce Young is getting bullied around down there. It's just not looking good.
Dang, are they going to try to – who are they going to draft next year?
I don't know. I think what they need to do is get rid of their owner and their management, everything, and just, again, start over because whatever is going here now, they either need to do a wild turnaround and, like, really, like, figure it out on the fly, or their front runners for me is the number 1 pick in the NFL draft next year.
Always, right? Watch, they'll find some way to trade it away.
It's either going to be them or Cleveland because Cleveland looks like absolute garbage, too.
Yeah. Cleveland's a whole
Those are 2
story.
teams that I'm actively not pursuing in fantasy, like any of the players at all. I want nothing to do with those 2 offenses. They're way too inconsistent, way too much risk and liability that I'm not trying to fit somewhere in my lineup.
Which sucks because you wanna
love to have like the Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
You love to have those players.
Is even good when he's going off, you know. I would say what's his name? Nick Chubb when he comes back.
Yeah.
He's probably a must start.
But I feel if you have those 2 teams players on your team in fantasy, you're playing them out of necessity more than you want to have them on your team. Mm-hmm. And that you want to start them.
Yeah. But you can't start Amari Cooper.
No. How with Deshaun Watson? What did you think of Deshaun Watson over the weekend?
Do you think I didn't even watch the Bears game. I didn't even watch the Bears game from everything.
No, Deshaun Watson, the Browns.
Or Browns, sorry, not the Bears, the Browns. I didn't even watch the Browns game.
Yeah.
So but from what I'm hearing though, he was not good. And but I mean you probably wouldn't have Deshaun Watson though. You're probably not starting Deshaun Watson.
I hope not. Please, I hope none of you drafted him or he's I hope he's not on your team.
Yeah, and then I don't even want to get into that whole lawsuit crap.
Yeah,
But yes, definitely. Like I feel like the Browns, teams you want to stay away from. The Browns,
Mhm.
who were we just saying before the
The
Browns?
Giants.
Well, neighbors look pretty good. I was gonna say Wandale Robinson?
Yeah, I just don't trust Daniel Jones. It looks so bad.
Neighbors though, I like neighbors. I
In
like
Dynasty,
Robinson.
yes. In redraft, no.
I don't
For
know,
me.
redraft too. Let me see. Let me see, because Grayson had him, my homie, and he freaking was high up on him. Well, he only got 11.6 points, 5 receptions, 66. That's still like solid, like flex numbers,
Yeah.
I'd say. Like
Yeah. That's solid wide receiver 3 flex
kinda,
stuff.
yeah, kinda, maybe not
Well,
really.
before we get too late in this, though, I want to find out from you what fantasy takeaways can you take out of the Broncos offense going into week 2? Like which players are you starting week 2 confidently? Which players are you staying away from week 2? And what players are you looking forward to having a bounce back week 2 performance in fantasy for you from the Broncos?
Pat Surtain and Alex Singleton and IDP.
Okay.
That would
Those are
probably
you
be
looking.
about it. Like I'm I mean, Cortland Sutton had solid. He had better numbers than neighbors.
Mhm.
So it's not like he
What
had
about the
crap
Devon
numbers.
Vele guy?
I
Would
was
he
gonna
be a
say
good waiver ad?
Vele had what do you have, like
He was
15
8
points
for
or
8 for
something?
60 something yards.
Yeah.
I think that's a
So
solid
I can
waiver
see,
wire ad, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean the only reason he dropped lower in the draft is because he was older. He took a couple years
Yeah.
off, so but it's not like the kid can't play. That's why he was in the draft. He come back and yeah, I think if you take a couple years off from something and you can come back and you can still get drafted,
Mhm.
you're pretty freaking
I
good.
find it's impressive for how Bo Nix played, for him to go catch all of his targets and get this amount of yards he did. I'm looking forward to him building off of that in week 2.
Exactly. So maybe like a good handcuff, maybe not like a start,
Mm-hmm.
but like
Yeah.
I'd handcuff him. I'd probably cuff, Sutton. I'd probably, if I had to, I'd probably cuff, Dulcich. Actually, hold on, let me see. I think, hold on, let me go back, pull this game up really quick. So I was gonna say, I don't know if any. See what Dulcich did. Fantasy wise. Oh, not crap. 3 targets, 2 out of 3 for 12 yards. So I
But
mean,
for
I guess
the
as
tight
far as
ends,
like,
it's kind of a wash
yeah, I'm
this
probably
week.
Vele or Mims. Mims has that kick return, punt return. If you get
Mm-hmm.
points from that in your league, he did get a good amount of points from that. But yeah, maybe I'm stashing them just in case for like a bye week or if someone gets
Mm-hmm.
hurt. That's probably it. Because I mean, Javonte Williams looked like crap. McLaughlin had like a couple more yards. He was a little bit more electric, but they didn't do crap with their running backs. I
Mm-hmm.
think they need to stop that committee. And nothing,
Yeah,
no,
they need
not
to pick
running.
one. I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
for the
nothing against
start of
running
this
back
Pittsburgh
committee.
game.
Yeah, one of them should be getting
Mm-hmm.
20 to 25 carries. They shouldn't have
Agreed.
them split in between, 10 to 15
Mm-hmm.
carries on both of them. No, you got to have one getting 20 between 20 and 25, and then the other ones are a spell. The other ones are coming in,
Mm-hmm.
estimated as a third down back. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what Sean Payton's
That's
doing
what
with
I
that running
feel
back
they could be
room.
effective against the Steelers this weekend is they pick one. Just
Yeah,
pick
and
one
just
of the
let
running
them
backs,
go.
run
Just
with
let
them.
them go. Just let them. That's what I'm saying. Look what the 49ers did with Jordan Mason, man. This guy came
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Same
Because
thing
I
with the
think
Browns last year when they played the Broncos. They had their
mhm.
third string running back, whatever his name was. He ends up running for like 130 yards. Like, you just got to pick one and just let him go. Let him get
I
going.
think that will help Bo Nix too in that offense because there's probably different packages for those two running backs. So
Mm-hmm.
if he's bouncing back and forth between them on the field, it isn't really helping his development or his fluidity. I
No,
mean,
he's not a. Yeah, granted, he had all those years in college. He's a rookie quarterback.
yeah.
Treat him like that, Sean Payton. That's what I'm getting a little frustrated about. But I mean, they felt that they looked good, which case they did look good. they didn't look like crap, but you still lost to a crappy Seahawks team. So it's like, man, I
And
don't
the
know.
Seahawks find a way to do that. They find a way to just win crappy games. And it's,
Yeah, no. What do you guys out there think? I know some of y'all gotta be Broncos fans. Let us know in the chat.
Or Steelers fans?
Or
Are you trying to
Steelers?
hate on him and back Shawnee here with the Steelers?
Right. Who do the Lions play this week?
They play the Buccaneers at home.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good.
Think about it. Their last 2 playoff games before the 49ers were the Rams and the Buccaneers, and that's their first 2 games this year.
Yeah, let me see. I was just watching my chats go off about that.
The Lions I saw earlier today are already 6-point favorites against the Buccaneers at home.
I wish I could share some of these videos and play them. Oh, the Lions are 6-point favorites.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're gonna run that ball. They're gonna keep running that ball. Smash
Baker's
that.
Baker's going to get to know Hutch very well. We'll be getting a good look at the stadium lights from his back.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 49 points. I think that's fair. Lions by 6. Y'all getting smoked. Our wide receivers know Carlton Davis well. Yeah, these guys. Oh man, I should put you in. I'm gonna probably have to add you to this football trash talk chat. Oh man, it seems like it's a good amount of. Hey, it's a lot of Tampa Bay fans, and it seems like it's a good amount of Lions fans. I see hopes are high after beating the previous 4-13 Washington Commanders week 1. See y'all Sunday.
Yeah, Lions had to play the Rams. You guys had to play the Commanders. A little bit level of difficulty there.
I'm about to add you to this group. This is good. I get some.
But no, I feel confident. Like, start your Lions. Start Amon-Ra. Start Laporta. Start Goff. Start David Montgomery, and start Jahmyr Gibbs. They're all going to show up for you. Even start
not their defense. Not their defense, though, right?
No, not the defenses. Don't start the defenses.
Baker had 4 touchdowns. He is one of the top quarterbacks. I think he was number 2 behind Josh Allen.
Yeah, start those Lions confidently, and I would say start your Buccaneers. It's going to be I feel like
you definitely start your Buccaneers too. I mean, come on, Godwin and Evans look much better than
I think it'll be a good game to watch. I hope everybody can watch because that's a slugfest. That's a powerhouse matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Godwin and Mike Evans look amazing. They look really good this past weekend, so it's going to be a good game. Playoff rematch too, right?
Yep. That was, like I said, that was the wild card round, or that was the divisional round. Sorry.
Yeah. So
the league is just like, hey, Lions, we're just going to start you out with 2 punches right in the face and see if you can take them.
There you go. So who are you going for in that game? Buccaneers?
No. It's not even going to be close.
I'm just joking. It's going to be a good game, though. I'm looking forward to watching that game, honestly. That's one of the ones I'm looking forward to watching.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I guess with the Instagram feed, I have to like click on it every once in a while to make sure.
Oh, really? Weird.
I don't know. It's weird. Maybe let me go look and see if I can see it on my phone.
We go as late as you want to go, said, by the way. Like, if you got to cut out, don't feel any pressure to keep it.
Yeah, no, I'm probably going to cut out soon and see what else there is to touch on. There's like.
I guess the only thing I can think of is like who we thinking is going to be must starts for the Dolphins-Bills game. Who are people you're straying away from, or because that's the next game, and we won't have another show until Sunday. So
Dolphins-Bills game.
Yeah, that's the next one before we do a show on Sunday. So they would have already played by the time we record.
Yeah, based off of both.
I think I took Dolphins in that one.
You think you're gonna take the Dolphins?
Well, I think I did. I think I went Dolphins in the.
Oh, on your picks.
Yeah.
Hold up and see. They both look kind of boring this weekend. Well, I mean, granted, Josh Allen, I guess he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Well, we know what the Bills are going to do. They're going to get behind, and they're going to do Josh Allen hero ball again.
Well, I don't know,
Dolphins are going
man,
to
because
score a
if you
bunch of
get
points right
behind
away.
to the Dolphins, they are much more deadly than the
Yeah.
Cardinals. They're not. They're way better than the Cardinals. So you let them get ahead. Oh, here we go.
Oh, hey,
Brock
shit, fire.
Bowers.
Here we go.
Brock Bowers at Laporta. Oh, dang.
The Raiders are playing the
Man.
Ravens in Baltimore, so I'm probably going to stay away from my Raiders players in Baltimore because those Ravens, they're going to be mad. They're going to be angry. They're going to hit hard. They're going to play better defense. It's going to be a harder path for Bowers to succeed in that offense after how we saw the Raiders perform against the Chargers. But
against the Chargers, right? It's a different breed.
And like I said, along with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think Laporta is going to have a worse game. I think that was probably going to be like his floor. Like that was the bottom where you saw him do this weekend. I think he'll do a lot better. I'm hoping for a touchdown. That's what I think he'll get. But maybe like 40, 50 yards and a touchdown, maybe a few more receptions. Bowers, I can see if they get by the goal line somehow. He can get a goal line touchdown, maybe about a handful of yards, handful of catches. But if the Raiders make Bowers the focal point in that offense this weekend, I think the ball is going to spread around too much to Zamir White, get him going, get Devontae Adams his targets that he wants. And then Jacoby Myers always finds a way to get open and get receptions. So I think realistically with the matchups, Raiders traveling across country on the road against a Ravens team that just lost and is pissed off. That's probably not a good recipe for Raiders players. And then between the Buccaneers and the Lions, I think that's a higher over-under too as well. I think more points are going to be scored. So you have higher odds of Laporta getting back on track. I think, Ced, you'd probably be a better person to answer this. You have Laporta everywhere. I don't have Laporta in my league, so what are you feeling?
I mean, I feel Laporta is going to be great every week he's on the field. That was out last week. He had a couple of weeks where he wasn't like top notch, but he was still always in the mix. So I'm always going to ride with him. I'm going to run with him regardless. I would go Laporta over Bowers almost any day. But I mean, Brock Bowers it's him and Devontae Adams over there, honestly.
Yeah.
It's him and Devontae Adams. So you're going to get good points from him. I think he outscored Laporta
I think it's less
week.
competition there and higher chance for volume, but it's on a worse offense, whereas the Lions is maybe more competition for touches, but higher points chances being scored, so a higher opportunity of getting more yards and more production out of your tight end in that matchup.
And then, I mean, Fantasy Pros, they got Laporta and
they got Laporta.
They got Laporta ranked as their number one tight end. His worst ranking is the number 4 tight end. And then, they got Brock Bowers as the number 9 tight end, and his worst ranking is tight end 13. So he's between 7 and 13. His best is 7. So all of them are staying
siding with us with the Laporta.
Yeah, they're putting him as that second tier, whereas Laporta is that that 1 through 5. And they got him as number 1. They got him as the number 1 tight end going into week 2. So I'd probably same way, like you said, it's going to be a shootout in Tampa Bay. And you know what? Who's going to benefit when the Buccaneers are going to try to really focus in on Williams and try to slow him down? And you got to pay attention to St. Brown. You got to, right? So I think
the Rams did last week. They went all in on St. Brown, and that's why J-Mo succeeded, and that's why Montgomery did with the run game. It's pick your poison with that Lions offense. They'll find a way to kill you.
Yep. So it's crazy because it's funny. Like, well, I guess I would take Goff over Minshew any day as well too. So
yeah,
very, very true.
Just because I think that Ravens defense is really gonna just like tighten up and just no problem anytime, man.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, no. That like you said, and then I don't see the Ravens losing many games back to back.
No, like I think start your Ravens, start your Derrick Henry, start Lamar, start Zay Flowers, start Mark Andrews and Likely, start I feel like Harbaugh is going to have them ready to go, and they're going to they're just going to pound. The Raiders are going to be punishment for the Ravens this weekend.
Now, if you had now say you did pick up likely because you drafted Andrews and he's always hurt. Who are you starting this weekend?
I'm still going with Andrews because he was going through some stuff still with the car accident and not doing the training camp and not much preseason, if any. I think likely was the benefactor of the game plan and how that scheme played out last week. I think it would be more of an even split. I don't think it's going to be as much likely as we saw last week. I feel like it's going to be more evened out and balanced out because like a player like Andrews, he can't just be tossed to the side or just not part of that game plan with Lamar. Like that's Lamar's guy. Like
that's his guy. Yeah. As they go, that's how once Andrews gets going, that's how they start. That's how
I feel like they're both viable. Like you could play either one. I think it's going to be more of an even split. It's not going to be as radical as it was last week.
It's a different game too, right? Like this is the Raiders. This ain't Kansas
Well, it's
City.
also hard, like playing teams like that on like when they're at home the following week, coming off a loss. Like there's just a different energy. They're gonna be playing in front of those fans. They're gonna be playing with those like because they only lost by a toe last week. Like I feel like they're gonna brutalize the Raiders.
Yeah,
which is good for the Broncos because then you know that they're. Raiders will be at the bottom of the division after week 2, and they won't be at the bottom anymore. So, damn,
so true, so true. My Raiders aren't my Raiders.
Your Raiders? Whoa,
my Broncos aren't going to be at the bottom. My Broncos
we got him. He's a closet Raiders fan. Finally, we got it.
Screw the Raiders.
Get you a Raiders jersey by the end of the season.
Oh yeah, this late night, man. Fuck the Raiders.
After dark.
It's after dark. I can say those words.
Those hot takes. Those are hot takes.
Yeah. Here, I'll put the sensor on it. I got a little sensor thing here. A little late, but we got it there.
No, it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I think it's gonna be interesting to see what. So, Bills, Dolphins. That's the Thursday night game.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins. Who are you taking?
Bills, Dolphins. You're taking, and it's in Miami.
I think so. Yeah.
It is in Miami.
They like to play in that hot weather.
Josh Allen is questionable.
What?
Questionable?
Don't say that. I have.
Oh, he's a full participant in practice.
Okay. Trying to scare me now.
Oh, his left hand. A little hurt. Hurt his little left hand. From
carrying the team last week.
I hurt my left hand too.
What'd you do? Were you carrying your team on your back too?
Carrying my team on my back, man, and trying to lift everyone up, and just had to give it a break. And, I got tired of my fantasy team. I was, getting players in and out, that CMC news and all that crazy news, having to flip all these players out, and just.
Hey, it happens. It's the time of the year.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. You get those weird little injuries, man. So you gotta, guys, don't forget, do your stretches. Get up off the couch every 5 minutes. Step up off the chairs. You got to stand and get those backs going, get that blood flowing, because you never
massage those eyes for screen looking that whole time. Look at the screens.
Screen looking. Let me tell you how many screens I've looked at. That's why. Over it. But no. So I mean, I'm gonna have to go Dolphins too.
Dolphins. All right. Who's your top fantasy performer on the Dolphins this weekend?
Tyreek Hill.
Me too. Tyreek Hill.
Who else would it be? Oh, I guess Tua? Maybe.
But I'm going Tyreek Hill. Tried and true.
Tua had 18 points.
Yes, I believe
Tyreek had 19 points.
So,
Tyreek was the top scorer last week. He's gonna be top scorer this
yeah,
week.
he's gonna do it this week again too. Who's
Yeah.
gonna be your bottom performer on the Dolphins this week? Your bottom fantasy.
Bottom performer? Well, probably A-Chain, right? If him and Mostert are out, and then they go in there, it's probably gonna be Mostert that gets it. It'll be A-Chain lower performer.
I'm going Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle? You just don't like Jalen Waddle, though.
Practice what I preach. I don't like him.
You don't.
I like him less than I like that. I like him less than I like Devon Achane less, if that makes sense.
It's gonna be Braxton Berrios.
Oh, yeah. He's got the punt return duties. You never know. He might want to run one back.
Dude, he got 0.2 points last week.
So who's going to be your top scorer on the Bills?
Top scorer on the Bills? Josh Allen.
Yep. Who's going to be your bottom performer on the Bills?
Dawson Knox.
I'm going to go.
Oh, wait. They even brought in Quentin Morris last week?
Really?
Yeah, he had a...
I haven't heard his name in a while.
I don't think I've ever heard his name. Let's see. I think he had a target. Oh, he didn't even get a target. I don't even know his name popped up. Yeah. What were you saying? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say my bottom performer on the Bills this weekend is probably going to be Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman? That's a hot take right there. Wasn't he their top receiver this past week?
He is, but I think that Josh Allen is going to get Dalton Kincaid going. I think it's going to be a Dalton Kincaid game. I think he's going to get him in early and often. He's going to pepper him with targets, and then that odd man out is going to be Keon Coleman.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Interesting. Oh,
Who do you think is going to have the better kicker, the Bills or the Dolphins?
Bills.
I'm going to go Dolphins. How about what's going to be the higher scoring defense in fantasy, Bills or the Dolphins?
Oh, Bills.
I'm going Bills too. I think they'll pick off 201, so probably sack them a couple times, but
they're both projected to get around the same amount of points.
Yeah.
Honestly, let me see what Miami got. Well, I mean, now, now I'm thinking about it, might be Dolphins.
Where you going, Dolphins?
Dolphins did kind of outperform. Well, they're playing Jacksonville last week, but I mean, the Bills were playing Arizona, and they let Arizona kind of manhandle them for the first 2.5 quarters. So, I mean,
yeah, the Bills had to wake up. They're just like, what? This is a regular season now? You got to play football?
Yeah,
Josh Allen saved us.
MVP out there. So, I mean, Miami's no slouch either, especially, if Jalen Ramsey isn't hurt, right? So,
he's hurt? Jeepers.
Well, he was out. Let's see.
No way. This has got to be new.
Jalen Ramsey, hamstring questionable. He was limited on Tuesday. Has been battling the injury since before week 1, but was able to play against Jacksonville on Sunday. So, yeah, I mean, that's a lot. And then they have, let's see, another Jalen Phillips. I guess he's not significant, but he's hurt. I just think that Jalen Ramsey one is a big one, but granted, I don't know who Buffalo has that's gonna even challenge to where you feel like you need Jalen Ramsey though in their wide receiver room. So
yeah, so I'm not. He's questionable right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that could have a lot to play into it as well too.
Yeah,
so I'd say Miami.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what the sleeper chats are saying.
What are they saying?
Do you think James Cook will have a touchdown?
I feel if he gets one, he's gonna break one for a touchdown. I feel like it's going to be a Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid game. I think, and even Dawson Knox. I think he's going to get the tight ends rolling early and often, and if they get in close, maybe he squirts in for a goal line, but it's more likely he busts off like a 30-40 run for it, or a 30-40 yard catch, in my opinion. He's fully capable of it. I think he'll have a better game than Devon Achane or Raheem Mostert, but I'm still starting all three of those guys if I have them where I have them.
Yeah.
Reluctantly.
You're still starting Achane if you have him?
Yeah, if I don't have better options.
Yeah, I guess I'm waiting to see.
I mean, if I'm deciding between James Cook or Devon Achane this weekend, I think I'm going James Cook. It just, on top of being injured, I don't know how serious it is, and even so, I think that McDaniels would be a little bit more conservative with his running backs and sprinkle in the new guy or Jeff Wilson over risking them getting further hurt on a Thursday night game with a quick turnaround next week. So, or wait, it wouldn't be quick, it'd be longer. I think it'd be smarter for the Dolphins if they take a more conservative approach on their running backs going into this week because they have a longer rest until next Sunday when they play.
Yeah.
And it's a long season. Like, it is a divisional game though, so it's literally more than just a game because it's divisional positioning.
Right. Yeah. And dang, so that's gonna be a good game, man.
Yeah. Oh, it will for sure.
And we don't have another show until Sunday, so we'll talk about it after the fact.
Yeah, did Shawnee have his picks for the game on Thursday?
No, Shawnee hasn't got me any picks.
Damn.
But let's see. Yeah, you had Dolphins in your picks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Dolphins too, just because of that whole thing. But then that whole Jalen Ramsey thing, I don't know.
Yeah, well, Dolphins are playing at home, and usually more times than not, when they're playing in Miami, they're putting up points.
Yeah, so I mean, you got Dang, I wish I had your picks so we could have talked about those. But I mean,
wait, you don't have them or you do?
I do got them. I got them right here.
Oh, they're just not on the draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would have been cool if we. But oh well.
We'll get them there. It'll be a little too late, but they will be up in the group. Shady Sports Football Reports
so if you guys
Facebook.
join the group, you can see all my picks there and criticize them or relish them or wherever you feel.
I'll put them up right now in the group. We'll get them up there. I'll get them up there tonight or tomorrow.
I don't have points yet, but
no.
I just have the picks.
Well, you picked the Broncos, so I know it's good picks.
Hey, I have faith in him this weekend. It was a tough task putting a rookie quarterback on the road in the opener against Seattle. Because playing in Seattle, that team just has a weird aura that things go their way up there, and it plays like that sometimes.
The 12th man.
Yeah.
12th man strong.
In front of the Denver crowd, home opener against the Steelers. I feel Bo ball out. He'll show up. My hope is that Cortland Sutton gets a touchdown and Javonte Williams gets more than 15 carries.
I hope McLaughlin gets more than 15 carries.
Oh, you want to see McLaughlin get the ball?
And I hope Vele gets a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I want this youth resurgence to continue. I want this youth push to just
the youth movement. You want him to keep rolling.
The youth movement, yeah, because hopefully it clicks in and we somehow find a tight end or Dulcich clicks in or something and just starts playing like, oh yeah, I'm young too.
Because that's going to really help Nix is if he gets a tight end established, a safety blanket, either like Troutman or Dulcich. Now they have Parham that they got from the Chargers, and he's just a big body. He's 6'8". Like, get that guy
more
on
of a blocker.
the goal line. Huh?
I guess in the goal line he's a good.
Well, a 6'8" guy. I mean, geez, he probably could jump up to the goalpost.
Yeah.
Something. I think a tight end is what he needs to, like, rather than just relying on these wide receivers to bail him out or running back out of the backfield. If he's got a tight end over the middle, that's going to help him a lot.
Yeah, but I feel like if McLaughlin is getting those carries too, then he could be that spark out of the backfield too.
Yeah, I think he can catch the ball pretty good too.
Yeah, he's pretty decent with catching the ball. So I just want to see what they're gonna do.
They need to be better. They need to play better.
Hopefully, Bo Nix he got his little flutters out or whatever his nervous.
He's got to play better than Fields.
He's got to play better than Fields. Fields looked decent last week too. Fields looked like a first round pick last week. So,
but Bo Nix is a first round pick.
Oh man, see, so first round versus first round. Maybe the Steelers are lying and Russ is gonna play.
Russ is too scared. He ain't that kind of man. He'll be sitting on that sideline with the earpiece in.
Practicing.
He doesn't want to be anywhere near that stadium. He doesn't want to be like in front of those fans again because they're gonna boo the hell out of him.
Yep. For no reason, but I mean, I guess he wasn't the best. And let's ride.
Let's ride, Steelers country.
I believe. Do you believe? We'll see. I think we just really need Bo to be good, man, because it's just been enough of losing and crap.
I think he will. I think it was just, week one.
Yeah, right. So we'll see. We'll get it going.
I still have him as my offensive rookie of the year.
There you go.
It's a long year, Said. We still got 16 more weeks after this week. So
Exactly. So
and you play the Raiders twice. You play the Chargers twice. So you still got 4 good games at least coming.
And play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You got some opportunities coming. I mean,
cool.
do the Broncos play the Panthers? Because I guarantee he balls out against the Panthers this year.
The Broncos play.
Well, they have to play the Browns this year too, right? They're playing the AFC North, so he's gonna ball out against the Browns.
Maybe the Browns kind of took it to him.
Oh no! Not this year. Browns suck.
Yeah, they sucked then too. Well, I guess
you're just like, I don't want to believe, but I want to believe, but I don't.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to pull up the Broncos schedule. I think they play the Browns. They play the Jets. So hopefully Jets didn't look so good, man. We play the Browns in week 13, so hopefully that'll give us.
Oh, that Bo will be cooking. He'll be already established.
We do play the Panthers at home.
Oh, dude!
Dang, I might try to go to that game. What
week is that?
Week 8.
Week 8. Everybody, start your Broncos. Week 8.
That's Halloween weekend.
Start McLaughlin. Start Javante. Start Dolchich. Start Nix. Start Vele. Start all your Broncos. Week 8. They're going to destroy the Panthers.
Tickets. Send me some cheap non-nosebleed tickets. I want to go. That'll be a good game to go.
Could you? Well, that's Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
Would that mean we wouldn't do a show that Sunday because you'd be at the game?
Oh, if I'm at the game, we'll do a show from the game.
Snap!
The game's at 2:25, so we still do a show.
Well, from where I'm at, that's a 2.5-hour flight. If I got down there by like 5, well, depending on when the game started.
The game starts at 2:25.
So 2:25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At like 2:30, I guess. Let me see. We don't play the Lions.
No, they scared. They played last year.
Oh man.
No, I don't mind that Denver flight. That's a good flight. I like flying out there.
We play the Bucks after you guys, so we'll get the.
Oh,
that'd be good.
Hey,
we'll get to talk
we'll
about
rough them up. We'll wear them out for you. We'll wear them down. We'll bite some kneecaps for you.
Exactly. We can talk about how we beat them better than you guys, or something like that.
I hope so. Hope Bo Nix lights them out.
Well, shoot, man. I guess that's about it. That's all I got.
Otherwise, I was smart and had my dinner before the show, so I'm not hungry this time.
I ate before the show too, man.
See, it's good.
My wife started cooking something. It smelled all good. She's watching this.
Hell yeah!
I'm zoning. I
It's getting late though. It's after dark. Fantasy football reports after dark.
After dark, guys. Thank you guys for sticking with us, man. No, it seems like we got quite a bit of people joined in.
I hope so. I look forward to more comments and more like screenshots of your lineups and stuff in the group. Like, please participate. Feel free. You're welcome to send all of your questions and your lineups, your rosters, everything. We're here to help you in your lineups each week, and we want you to win. So if you enjoy what you're seeing and what you're watching, you want to be a part of it, hit up Ced in the bandwagon and get you on here and the whatnot to chime in and give us your takes and, just be a part of this growing community. We love you guys. We do it for you, not only for ourselves, but we do it mainly for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well said, Justin. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. Probably wouldn't have said it better myself. So that's why I got this man here to bring it.
I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just trying.
We're just trying to help, man, for real. We just love fantasy football. I mean, feel free to ask us whatever about your team. Send us your teams, like you said. Send us snapshots. Ask us about your trades. We don't mind for sure. Send it whenever you got, both our streams. Hit us up on the Sleeper app. If you're not on the Sleeper app, man, hit us up. We'll get you links and get you linked into that. You should be checking out, honestly. Like, you got all your information in the palm of your hand in one place. You don't have to go to all these different apps. But I was looking at the ESPN app, and I do like their recaps and their AI that they're using. So there are some good things across the board in these other apps. Yahoo's pretty nice too. But yeah, I mean, we're using all these apps too. So whatever question you make out, whatever format, let us know what it is, what league you're in, where it's at, and I guarantee you we can do our best to help you out and give you some great pointers or tips or whatever it may be, or just tell you your team sucks. Nah, but
hot take.
Nah, we're gonna tell you it's fire too, though. If it's fire, but
we know if you have Drake London right now, your team is probably trash.
Yeah.
But no, for real too. I know you mentioned it at the beginning of the year before the season started. If you're interested in getting into the Roundtable League next year, feel free to request it, and we can Ced could get you like on a wait list and for setting up a fantasy league through the show next year. Yeah,
and we can start it up too and get like the chat going forward. And
for sure.
I mean, we can even. I'll do a week 4 redraft league, honestly. Carry to
whatever it takes. That's what we're looking at trying to do in here is get a roundtable league and a roundtable of people in here talking football and fantasy and NFL and all those things. So if you're interested, you think you can take us on and show us what's up, we're more than welcome to the challenge, and we're inviting it. We'd like to see you in there.
Yep. And you catch us here every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Catch us every Sunday night on Mile High Bandwagon. Pretty much the same show, just talking more NFL at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time as well. So Tuesdays and Sundays every night, or every Tuesday and Sunday at 6:30. We're either talking NFL or we're talking to players in the NFL, be it fantasy football. So we just love the sport, man. We love sports, and so catch us, talking about that. And then there's other fantasy shows on Shady Sports too, and there's other football shows, there's other sports shows on Shady Sports Network. So it's not just us; it's a bunch of other guys and gals like us that just love sports and just love competition, or just love talking the stats or whatever it may be, just bringing you updates. Especially a lot of these leagues that you normally may not have access to. I know Justin was learning a lot about, some arena and indoor football leagues up there.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every second of it.
Exactly. So it's not just NFL, guys. And we'll be talking bandwagon. We'll be taking it into basketball, talking basketball. But for now, we're talking NFL. For now, we're talking fantasy football. And on this show, we're talking Broncos, Steelers, and the Lions. On bandwagon, we're talking the Lions, the Steelers, and the Broncos, and all these other crappy teams too, right? That we like to crap on and talk crap about. So that's your team. It's cool. If you like it, come and defend them. Come jump on the round table, like Justin said. Join the group. Share your fantasy team. Let us know how we can help you tweak it or point you out to some waiver wires, get you a leg up on the game. We're just here. We're just here to for the love of the game, guys. So keep joining in with us. Stay growing with us. We love that you guys are coming in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Please share. Please share. Please share. Yes. Tell your friends about us. Get us out. So
tell your coworkers, tell your boss,
tell your league mates,
tell your exes. I don't care anymore. Tell everyone.
Exactly. You're drunk, you hit up your ex. Say, hey, watch Fantasy Football Reports on Shady Sports Network.
Yeah,
and they'll love it. So hey. Thanks for watching, guys. It's a pleasure as always, and we're keeping it. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll be bringing you some updates and some good news. So, as always, have a good night. Thanks for joining. And Justin, you got anything?
No, you nailed it all on the head. You wrapped it up good. Hope your lineups start off on a good note with the Dolphins and Bills, and we'll see you Sunday.
Pew, pew, pew.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.